How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 3.
My fellow Americans, I'm delighted to have you with me. It's Eric Erickson here from Coast to Coast. The phone number is 877-973-7425. As a reminder, if you text the word recipe, not recipes with an S, just recipe, to 33777 in less than 1 hour, I am sending out my list of holiday recipes. There are some great ones in there. A listener, Alice, actually emailed and said that I do not spend enough time talking about my wife's salad recipe in there. My wife, a friend of ours, made this salad, and it's got cranberries and apples and walnuts and then this maple dressing. And it's I do not like cranberries. And no, I'm not a big salad. I mean, look at me. I'm not a salad eater, but everybody loves it. So yes, that recipe is in there. My wife is a little bit embarrassed for me to give her credit because it's actually her friend's recipe, but nonetheless, it's there. Got lots of recipes. Just text the word recipe to 33777 at 3 p.m. Eastern time today. It'll go out. Otherwise, if you just click that link after 3 p.m. Eastern today, you can go through. It'll be at the top of the page. You'll see the recipes. Enjoy them. They're very easy. The gravy's the best. Now, we need to talk about the Jews. So, okay, tangent. A lady on Twitter, in fact, let me find this thread. This is too good not to read with you. This is from a lady named Anise. She says, on the walk yesterday, I was saying how I don't think I've seen a single Kamala sign in the neighborhood, but I've seen 24 Trump signs. My 6-year-old asked if this was good or bad. I told him it was good because I don't like Kamala. He gets very sheepish. And he finally says, Mom, I had to color a Kamala picture at school. And I said, what? And I'm thinking, my gosh, I got to find a new school. And the 6-year-old says, yeah, everyone had to do it. And he's very somber about it. I asked him for what the teacher said. He said they just learned about Kamala and colored in a picture. And he used blue because blue was the right color. And I asked him if they colored any Donald Trump pictures. And he said, no. He said the teacher never even talked about Trump. Now I'm really bummed because I got to take him out of school. So today I asked him for more details. I really like his school. They just don't seem like they would push politics on first graders, but I'm concerned. They've never mentioned anything in the lead up to the election. And so I asked him if he remembered the most interesting thing about Kamala. And he says, yes, you get a present. I says, a present? I asked him to tell me more, and he's very forthcoming, that there are these lightings of candles each day, and you get presidents each day, and then presidents each day. And he says, Mom, can we do Kamala? And I finally said, are you talking about Hanukkah? He says, yes, Hanukkah. Not Kamala, Hanukkah. Oh, out of the mouths of babes. So let's talk about the Jews. The International Criminal Court needs to be destroyed. They have issued an arrest warrant for Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli military or defense minister Gallant. They are the Netherlands, by the way, which had a series of anti-Semitic attacks last week that called that provoked the King of the Netherlands, who rarely speaks publicly. The King of the Netherlands last week, after the series of attacks, issued a statement and said, we failed the Jews in World War II, and we failed them again this week. And now this week, a week later, the Netherlands has failed the Jews again. They've issued arrest warrants for leading members of the Israeli government for supposed genocide in Gaza. They have bought the PR spin from the Hamasniks. But it's not just that. It's not just that. Senators Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff of Georgia voted to kill weapons sales to Israel as Israel continues to fight its enemies. They attempted to block sales of weapons to Israel. Now, we just got through an election season where a historic number of Jews voted Republican. They voted for Donald Trump. A lot of Jews voted for Hitler, apparently, according to the Democrats. Why on earth would the Jews support a man the Democrats say is Hitler? Perhaps it's because, actually, the Jews support Israel. And Donald Trump is no Hitler. He supports Israel. But it's not just that. Democrats have now come out in opposition to H.R. 9495. You have no idea what H.R. 9495 is. It's legislation that a majority of Democrats backed until today. H.R. 9495 denies tax-exempt status to organizations that finance terrorists. After having previously been supportive of this legislation, Democrats have walked away. By the way, the legislation also funds victims. So if there's victims of terrorism, the funds that are derived from these organizations would go to support the victims of the terror. And the Democrats, a majority of them, supported this legislation until today. What's changed? Donald Trump's going to be president of the United States. The Ways and Means Committee held multiple hearings on H.R. 9495. Members spoke to witnesses who testified about it. They separately uncovered how some tax-exempt organizations have abused the American tax code to fund disruptive and illegal activities at home and terrorism abroad. The bill's straightforward. Organizations found to have provided material support to a listed terrorist organization get stripped of their tax-exempt status. It's not a whimsical determination. It doesn't allow Donald Trump to punish nonprofits in this country at will. There has to be proof that they provided material support to a designated terrorist organization. And the designation is not something the Treasury Secretary can just do willy-nilly. The text of the bill makes clear the designation has to fall within the legal definition of support for terrorism. In fact, the legislation, for purpose of this paragraph, the term terrorist supporting organization means any organization which is designated by the Secretary as having provided during the 3-year period ending on the date of such designation material support or resources to an organization within the meaning of Section 2339B of Title 18 of the U.S. Code. Now, 2339B of Title U.S. Code, what is this? Whoever knowingly provides material support or for resources to a foreign terrorist organization or attempts to conspire to do so shall be fined. To violate this paragraph, a person must have knowledge that an organization is a designated terrorist organization, that the organization has engaged or engages in terrorist activity, or that the organization has engaged or engages in terrorism. This is the legislation. There has to be direct knowledge. But the Democrats who supported this legislation until Donald Trump won the election have suddenly said, you know what, we're okay with these nonprofit groups funding terrorists. Is it any wonder Jewish Americans have shifted so quickly towards the Republican Party? They haven't become conservatives. American Jews tend to be more progressive than a lot of other defined ethnic groups in this country. But none of these other groups ever have to worry about extermination. Only the Jews must worry about extermination. And the Democrats had their back until the election. And Jewish Americans pivoted right at the election. They did not like Kamala Harris's weak statements on supporting Israel. They did not like the progressive flank of the Democratic Party allying with Hamasniks. And now after the election, the Democrats' response is, we're going to allow nonprofits to support terrorism because the Jews didn't vote for them. That seems to be the implication. Now you've got this situation in the Netherlands with the International Criminal Court. The United States, by the way, does not support the International Criminal Court. In fact, to their credit, the Biden administration just 2 days ago vetoed a Security Council resolution that called for an end to the fighting in Gaza because it did not prioritize the return of hostages to Israel. There are still kidnapped victims of October 7th in Gaza, and the resolution made no mention of their return. So the Biden administration vetoed the resolution. They should have vetoed it even if it contained that, but good for them for vetoing this one. And they've refused to play nice with the International Criminal Court. Biden could play nice with the International Criminal Court, but he's refused, and this country's refused to be involved with it. But you got a situation now where an international court in the Netherlands has decided that they will go Jew hunting like the Arabs in the streets of Amsterdam and try to round up Jewish leaders who are defending Israel against a terrorist organization. All these years later, Europe is walking away again from the Jews. And it is wild to me. It is deeply hilariously ironic to me that the man who is standing up for the Jews is a man the Democrats have compared to Hitler. Marco Rubio will be the Secretary of State. You know, for all the never-Trumpers out there who are just insistent, all of his nominees are terrible, Marco Rubio is a great pick for Secretary of State. His family fled Cuba. They know tyranny. They've opposed tyranny. And he knows the history of Europe. Marco Rubio knows it is a warning sign for bad things coming when the Europeans begin to persecute the Jews. And it's begun again. And Donald Trump will have him whispering in his ear. And that's a good thing. And Donald Trump has made very clear he supports Netanyahu's government and he supports Israel. That's a good thing. What's terrible, though, is that the Democrats, when presented with an opportunity for a clear call to stand with Israel and against anti-Semitism, have decided to walk away from that because they don't like that a lot of Jews in this country decided to vote for Donald Trump after the Democrats are the ones who decided to allow Hamasniks to run rampant on college campuses and harass Jews across America. Maybe they should be showing their fidelity to the Jewish people instead of turning their backs on them and siding with the people who would hunt the Jews on college campuses. The Democrats, they're not going to learn any lessons from 2024, are they? They're already saying, Donald Trump's win isn't as big as it was. He won more votes than Kamala Harris. The Electoral College works. Notice they're not attacking the Electoral College right now because they can't, given Donald Trump's victory over Kamala Harris. But they're not going to learn anything. And if you're Jewish, the Democratic Party is only going to get more and more hostile to you, I'm afraid. Just look at this. They have walked away from legislation they supported that would take away the tax-exempt status of nonprofits that support terrorist organizations. And the only reason they walked away from legislation a majority of them supported is because Donald Trump won the election. Nothing else has changed except that. Welcome back. It's Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. I have to correct myself. I said after the election, Planned Parenthood reported requests for vasectomies had gone up 400%. I was wrong. Requests for vasectomies had gone up 1,200%. The left-wing men in America sterilizing themselves, neutering themselves so that they can have sex without consequences. The request for IUDs has gone up over 400%. It is Republicans who are saving America while the Democrats sterilize themselves. My buddy Nathan Leamer sent me this. States that vote for the Republican presidential candidates have higher fertility rates than states that vote for the Democratic candidate. Data from the CDC shows that in 2022 and 2023, the 10 states with the highest fertility rates were all Republican-leaning states, while the 10 states with the lowest fertility rates were Democratic-leaning or blue states. In fact, the South, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, even Virginia do great. The best states are the Dakotas. Well, of course, they're snuggling all winter long. They're frigid. Utah does great. Alaska and Texas, Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana. They're all highly reproductive states. States like California, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, they're not really producing kids. Yeah, it's the Republic. You know, I've said for a long time, when you look at the demographic data, it sounds like a funny line. I'm not really making it up, though, that the way we're going demographically, our nation is rapidly becoming a nation of Hispanic country music listening Baptists. The evangelical Hispanic population in this country is the most fertile in the country, the most reproductive. They have the most babies. They're Republican Hispanics in the South who go to Protestant churches, not Catholic churches. They listen to country music. They're as American as you and me, and they are making babies. And it is up from Texas north, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota. That's where all the babies are being made right now. California, the coast, New England, and the West Coast are where nobody wants to have kids. And who can blame me? People in California, it's too expensive out there for people to start a family. They punish you out there for starting a family, it seems. So God bless the GOP for keeping this country going, because the Democrats aren't doing it. They're getting sterilized. Now, with banks collapsing, with the economy in still teetering, you heard the story yesterday about Target saying there's a massive slowdown in shopping. It's not just Target now. Walmart and other stores are also warning about the same thing happening to them for the Christmas season. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they've been warning people about a secret war on cash. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from this secret war, you need their free report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau, and they can educate you on protecting your assets. The report takes less than 15 minutes to read. You can save on your retirement and finances. All you have to do is call or text 800-289-2646. The All Out War on Cash includes digital forms of currency as well. You can get the report completely free. All you do is mention my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, when you call or text 800-289-2646. That's 800-289-2646. 2646. The report's free. Just mention Eric when you call or text 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. I just got some news I need to share with you guys. Y'all humble me regularly. We have raised well over $100,000 for Hungry for a Day. Thank you. So whether you're listening right now up in Connecticut, or one of my newer affiliates is KSTE out in Sacramento, California, or WGIG down in Brunswick, Georgia as well. Hungry for a Day that we partner with works around the country, and given my relationship with them, they have worked in particularly targeting areas where my show is on. So you guys who are in, for example, Sacramento, when you donate to Hungry for a Day through the donation portal, you're helping people in Sacramento. Those of you who are in Brunswick, Georgia, are helping people in Brunswick, Georgia. Those of you in Kalispell, Montana, helping people there. Those of you in Hartford, Connecticut, you're helping people in your own backyard. It's one of the reasons I love Hungry for a Day. They think smart. They do a great job. So this audience has ensured that over 2,500 families, It's a lot of people. 2,500. I'm 2,500. I'm kind of floored. Thank you all very, very much. What a wonderful organization, and what wonderful people you guys are that we have raised. The actual number is $119,038 as of this moment. If you would like to contribute, if you text donate to 33777, I'll send you back a link, Hungry for a Day. If you're just tuning in and you're not familiar with them, Hungry for a Day will, for $40, and if you can't give $40, that's fine. Give what you can. But for $40, works with food banks and soup kitchens around the country to prepare a Thanksgiving meal for a family in need. And it is a turkey, it's potatoes, mashed or sweet, mac and cheese, green beans, rolls, and dessert. And the cost for that is more than $40, but they work with other groups to help subsidize the cost. So for your $40, it is, you take care of a family of 4 for Thanksgiving, and you guys have just taken care of thousands of people around the country in your own backyard. So thank you. Seriously, y'all, I know your generosity when I do my Carathon in Atlanta, or a couple of years ago when prices were so high and we were raising money for gas cards with the Salvation Army, and you guys contributed like $250,000 in a day. And I know it's not easy for you guys right now either, because the economy sucks for everybody. And yet over $100,000 raised to help provide Thanksgiving meals for people. So thank you. Thank you very, very much. I want to go to the phones. The phone number here is 877-973-7425. There is some breaking news, though, I got to bring you, and that is that the House is announcing Marjorie Taylor Greene will be given a subcommittee chairmanship to help Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy with their Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. They are going to put her in charge of a subcommittee in the House that will help them with their cuts. Now, it's difficult, and here's why. A lot of what is done is appropriated by Congress, and you got to get Congress to change it, and in changing it, he's got to overcome a filibuster unless you can get it through on reconciliation. And so the work that Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk are doing with Marjorie Taylor Greene assisting is going to, they're going to have to work fast to get a reconciliation package together and be able to make these changes through reconciliation so they can bypass the filibuster. But there are a lot of government entities, welfare programs in particular, that can be consolidated and will save money, and I hope they start there. That's low-hanging fruit. Let's go to the phones. David calling from Jacksonville, Florida. You're going to be up next on the Eric Erickson Show. Welcome.
Hey, how are you doing today? Again, I enjoy your show, and
Thank
I'm
you
glad for the success of it, and especially the fact you call balls and strikes and not personalities.
Thank you.
The big deal that's staring us all down the gun barrel is entitlements. And I'm 65, I'm 70. I don't know how old I am. And I'm on Social Security. And, no, I don't want them to change Social Security or anything else for all that matter, but something's going to have to be done. And let me bounce something off of you. I thought about it. I did some research into how Social Security is financed. And basically they go out and buy T-bills, government, certificates of deposit. Well, those things pay, I bet the most expensive one out there right now is paying 5%, and that was probably bought some time ago or something, but not over that. I think what they should do for Social Security is do this. Get the government out of the financing part. Right now, keep the benefits, all the upfront stuff that you see on, as a consumer of Social Security benefits. None of that changes. But what does change, instead of having that thing backed by 100% government securities, bring in some of these outside investment bankers like,
Yeah,
anyway,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I mean, I had 5 of them I was going to tell you, but anyway.
So David,
Blackstone, BlackRock. Yeah. But anyway,
let's keep BlackRock out of it, or it's all going to go ESG. But, to your point, this was the George W. Bush plan that even Democrats at this point acknowledge they should have used in 2005. So here's the deal. In 2005, after George W. Bush's reelection, the president proposed a privatization plan for Social Security. It was demonized so aggressively by the Democrats. The Republicans were like, "Oh, we should abandon this." Here's the way it would have worked: if you were 50 or older, nothing would have changed. If you were 30 to 50, you would have the option to move into the new system. And if you were under 30, you would be forced into the new system. And the new system would essentially have been a 401k where the government would match your Social Security withholding from your paycheck. And it would have been privately invested into stocks and bonds. And over time, the adjustment would have been reallocated from stocks to bonds. So as you got to 65, you would go from 100% stocks when you're young to 100% bonds, interest-bearing bonds when you're old, to provide you stability, and would have gotten the government out of it. And the Democrats said, well, this would reward groups like BlackRock and Blackstone and investment managers, and it would hurt old people. And Bush was very clear, we're not changing anything. You're 50 and older, you get the current system. And had it happened when Bush proposed it, there would be a bunch of people retiring right now who would be millionaires, given the performance of the stock market since that time. There would be millions of people. But the Democrats demagogued it. The Republicans got scared and bailed on it. And now everyone's like, gosh, had we done this, we would have a bunch of millionaires in this country right now who had been in the middle class. But the demonization of it killed it. It was a smart plan. It was an absolute smart plan. And we should do it. You could very much maintain Social Security benefits with people. And it's all funded by an IOU anyway. Dave was right. It's an IOU from the Treasury anyway. We could maintain it, but nope. God forbid. Dwayne, you're going to be next on the Eric Erickson Show. Welcome. How are you?
I'm good, sir. Nice to talk with you again. It's been a little bit.
You too.
I wanted to reinforce what you were talking about, Marco Rubio. I'm a big fan of his. I wanted to vote for him when he ran the first time for president because when you ask him a question, I mean, he just dives right in on policy, and he knows so much about so many things. And I laugh about it. He's going to be a great Secretary of State. He's the opposite of Kamala. Right. That was the main thing I wanted to say, because you ask him a question and he'll answer it for a long time. And you ask Kamala and she'll talk for a long time and never answer it. That was it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We go from actual word salad to substance with Rubio. And I mean, J.D. Vance is the same way. J.D. Vance is willing to go where other people don't want to go because he knows they're going to ask him tough questions. He doesn't shy away from it. Rubio's the same way. You ask Rubio a tough question, he's going to give you a good answer. Craig, you're going to be up next. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. My comment first was I think Ted Cruz would probably be a good pick for AG.
Yeah.
And if not AG, to maybe replace Clarence Thomas if he retires during Trump's administration.
Or Mike Lee,
Yeah. And my question was when we're going to see you on Hell's Kitchen.
Never. Look, you will never see me on Hell's Kitchen. You'll never see me on Dancing with the Stars. You will never see me on reality TV. I would not mind doing like a news show, but I'm not going to do a reality TV show. There's just no way anything like that is ever going to happen. I got a level of pride, and I realize we live in a day and age where shame does not exist for most people, but it sure does for me. If I did something like that, my wife and kids would never let me live it down. Or JT, you're going to be the last caller today. Welcome to the show. How are you?
How are you, Eric? Of course, you got me fired up again. I liked your lead in. I didn't know about the wires being cut by China in the Baltic. That's bold. I want to slightly step back a little bit with immigration, Eric. I hate to go there, but we have to. September 11, 2001, Eric, that the border played a major role in that. Muhammad Ali and the hijackers expired visas. They stayed, and we weren't able to track them down and get them out of here. So the big bomb I'm going to throw out there, I think I got an idea how you feel about it, But I'm fired up about it. If Donald Trump wants to use the U.S. military for the mass deportation, I say go for it. Go all out, full bore, because you're already seeing – I'm not even worried about the optics right now anymore because I've been hearing about this past few days, from the media and Democrats on how it would look. But these blue cities, if they're going to resist, the U.S. military may be needed to back up ICE and whoever else he's using for this deportation. Because with that resistance, it can get ugly and get nasty.
JT, I got to tell you, I simply do not have an objection to the President of the United States asking military personnel to assist domestically in finding illegal immigrants, many of whom are criminals, have overstayed their visas, are possible sleeper cells, and evicting them from the country. I don't have a problem with it at all. I realize there are laws, posse comitatus among others. The military cannot engage in law enforcement activities inside the country. That is a existing law on the books from the 1800s. The American military is not allowed to engage in law enforcement function within the United States. I don't think mass deportations is a law enforcement function. I think it's a national security function. I have no problem at all with the president deploying the military, say, find every illegal immigrant who's not supposed to be here and round them up for the Border Patrol to process and deport out of the country. I don't know why we're not doing that. By the way, some breaking news happening. It appears that a top North Korean general has been wounded in Russia, thanks to British-made Storm Shadow missiles fired by the Ukrainians. This is happening now. A senior North Korean general was wounded in the Ukrainian strike in Kursk. A Western official is now reporting the North Koreans have been there assisting the Russians and prepping for invasion. The Western governments gave Ukraine authorization to use missiles into the Kursk region where the North Koreans were lining up, targeting them. The strike targeted an underground fortified command center. 18 Russian senior officers were killed, along with the North Korean military officer and a number of North Korean soldiers. This is just starting to come out now on the wires. Good for Ukraine for taking these out. Listen, y'all, I'm sorry, and I know there are those of you who are like, this is escalation, we're going to get World War III. We already got World War III. The North Koreans in Russia trying to invade Europe, that's World War III. And I have no problem with Ukraine trying to stop an invasion of Europe by North Korea. We'll just have to agree to disagree on that one. Now, I think you will all agree that Eden Pure Thunderstorm is a superior product. By the way, I got an email from someone this morning, actually says he ordered his Eden Pure Thunderstorm and it was slow to arrive. Did I know what was going on? Yeah. They are getting flooded with orders. My sister had the same situation. It's slow. So get your order in now. If you want them for the holidays, for gifts, whatever, go to EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3. One of the things that slowed them down is they've got the new inventory of the new Eden Pure Thunderstorm, and it's different from the old one. The old one was black, looked like a book. This one is silver and actually a little more compact, but it generates not just ozone to wipe out odors, but plasma to wipe out bacteria and viruses as well. You can get them by going to EdenPureDeals.com, put in Eric3 as your discount code, and it's even though they've upgraded the device, it's more compact and does more. It's the same price. You can get 3 of them, save $200. You get all 3 for less than $200. All you have to do is go to EdenPureDeals.com, put in Eric3. It wipes out any odor. No odor can stand up to it. It wipes out viruses. It wipes out bacteria. It traps pet dander, pollen, and dust and mold floating in the air on electrostatic plates, so you don't need a filter subscription. It just works. EdenPureDeals.com, the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3, at EdenPureDeals.com. You know, I mentioned yesterday that California in the 2030 census, given its population flight from California, it stands to lose up to 4 congressional seats. California is the most populous state and has the most members in Congress right now, and it stands to lose at least 4 seats. However, California, it's got, 52 members in the House right now, California does. And it stands to lose up to 8 seats if it were to have to deport all of its illegal aliens, given so much of its population. About a third of the Hispanic population in California is estimated to be illegal in this country illegally. And so if you deported all those with the flight from California, instead of losing 4 seats in the 2030 census, you could lose up to 8. And it could lose more given what it does to business. So in California, they took out a loan for $20 billion from the federal government. California has decided to default on its federal unemployment insurance loan. Turns out that under the rules for this loan, if the state stops paying the loan, the state's businesses have to repay the loan. Andrew Gruel, you've probably seen him on Fox, great chef, great human being. He put out this tweet and he says, we just ran payroll. The payroll taxes were $2,000 higher than calculated. We called the payroll company. They explained that California has a budget shortfall. The federal government wants money back that it lent California for unemployment insurance that it lost, quote unquote. They're making up for it by having business owners pay it. Keep in mind, it was around 10% of our total payroll. When people say, why was California not business friendly? Remember this. And a reporter chimed in and said, sent this snippet. Little did California businesses know that they were co-signers on the state's $20 billion loan from the federal government used to cover California's unemployment fund shortfall during COVID. This ugly truth became apparent when the state recently decided to stop making payments on the loan. When a state defaults on its federal unemployment insurance loan, federal law requires that the state's businesses repay the loan. So businesses in California, small to large, are being hit with extraordinary taxes for uninsurance benefit or unemployment benefits because the state of California decided to default on its loan. That is why businesses and individuals keep fleeing that state. It is badly mismanaged, but the rich people don't feel the burden of it, and so they keep the bad managers around like Gavin Newsom. He will never be president of the United States because of stuff like this.